when you stop and think about it, the future is kind of a weird concept. It's something that is always being planned for, something we are often looking forward to, or perhaps we are anxious about. Perhaps we don't know what the future will bring and that scares us. Or perhaps we don't enjoy the present and we are looking forward to the future. We are awaiting the future. I remember when I was a kid, for some reason, the year 2020 really felt like the future. I'm talking like back when it was, I don't know, 2002, 2003. And I remember being a student and like my textbook would have like predictions about the future. I don't know if it was a science class or I don't know what class it was, but we had like, it was like in the future we'll have, you know, we're going to have bionic arms and robotics and all this crazy technology of the future. And it was telling us about the year 2020. And whenever I thought about the year 2020, it was like, wow, that is really the future. Of course, now it's the past. And I don't think anyone could have predicted how 2020 played out. And yeah, now it's the past, and now it's gone, and now 2021 is now the present, and now 2022 is the future. But what does it really mean to be the future? And is it really worth thinking about the future in terms of predicting what it'll look like, or trying to analyze like what's it going to be like in 15, 20 years? I mean, like, take YouTube for an example. YouTube is only about 15 years old. Yeah, about 15 years. What will it be like in another 15 years? Will Google just decide that, okay, you know what, this video production thing, this is taking up way too much space on our servers. More people are using ad blockers. No one is watching the ads, so we're not making money. So we're just going to delete YouTube. It's gone. Me and all the other faces who talk to you on your phone or computer, we just disappear. And then it's off to the next thing. Then they create their virtual reality VR tube. I don't know. Whatever's next after YouTube. That's kind of a scary thought, isn't it? Like everything we are watching right now could just be a fad in like the greater scheme of life. So like when you think about the future that way, it can bring you anxiety. It can bring you doubt. You don't need to be a YouTuber to feel that way. You could be, you could be an employee at a store in the mall, and maybe, your manager is looking at the sales reports and you haven't made as much money as you did last year, and they haven't said anything about layoffs, but you feel like there could be layoffs. And if you get laid off from your job, then you can no longer afford to pay your kid money to go to, what do kids do? Go to the movies? I don't know. Clearly, I don't have a kid. I don't know what kids do. But the point is, like, no matter what your profession is, no matter what your life situation is, it's easy to feel anxious about the future. But I don't really feel that anymore. There was a time when I did, maybe when I was that kid, looking at that textbook about the year 2020, I would feel a mixture of, I don't know if I was anxious back then, but just kind of like awe and, I felt like just overwhelmed, I guess would be a good word for it. I was just overwhelmed by the idea of like how life would change. But then you get there and like you're fine with it. Of course, there's some things that are different. Some things we could have predicted, some we didn't, obviously. But the thing about the future is it is like simultaneously always on the horizon and always arising. Like this moment is the future compared to 5 minutes ago when this video started. So You might not think of it that way, but like you've experienced the future in this video about the future. And so on the greater time horizon, when you think about 10 months or 10 years of your life, it might feel like that's a completely different time and things will be so different. But really, it's always arising. It's always just on the horizon, about to arrive. And I guess this is getting into like Buddhist philosophy a little bit, but it's really the healthiest way to do it is not to think too much about the future at all. Just to experience the now and experience the moment you are living in as fully and as deeply as you can. Because when the future arrives, it is now. This is now. Now that's the past. And now is the moment that was just the future. So it's always right now. If you can both live in the now, both live in that moment that we are constantly experiencing, while also not stressing or feeling anxiety about the future, but just asking yourself, like, what will the me in the now, in the future, want the me in the now, in the past to have done? That was a very complicated way of saying something very basic, which is just like, plan for the future in the moment you have now, but don't plan in a way of being like, don't plan in the way of what you think the future will be like, because you'll probably be wrong. Just do things that have lasting value in some way. I just published a podcast with my dad. And I've now done a podcast with my dad and one with my mom. So I have done a YouTube interview, I guess more of a conversation, kind of an interview, I guess, with each of my parents. And I don't know what the future will bring. I mean, God forbid something happens to my parents and they are gone a year from now, but it doesn't matter, does it? A year from now, 10 years from now, 30 years from now, 50 years from now. In the greater scheme of things, it is still now. There will most likely be a day, a moment where I experience life without my parents. That's a human experience most people have. And I don't need to feel anxiety about that. I just need to live my life in the now in a way that will prepare me one day for a future that I am going to one day experience. And so in terms of like, will YouTube even exist, or will this, listen, I'm 30 and I'm, I'm not really building a traditional career path the way a lot of people my age might be. I'm not, I'm not working for the government or a big corporation, or I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a doctor. Well, okay, I could go on and on about the things I'm not. And so in some sense, you could say that I am like taking a risk. I am living unusually compared to a lot of my peers. But I also feel like the life I have allows me to live in the now and to plan for the future. And it gives me time to think about things that really matter to me a lot. And I know a lot of people who become doctors or very high-achieving, stressful jobs. And God bless them. Those people, we need those people in society. But sometimes I worry that those jobs, they take a part of your soul away too. They keep you so busy that you're always thinking about the future. You're thinking about the 2-week vacation you'll have like a year and a half from now. And then when you get to that vacation, you're so burnt out from work that all you want to do is sit in the sun and drink some beer. And then it's back to the treadmill, back to the race of life, waiting for the next bit in the future. never really experiencing the now. But the now is all we have. It's all we've ever had. It's all we will ever have. And so when this video ends, you get to decide what you do with the rest of your day. You can turn on the news or check social media and find something to get outraged about, find something to terrify you about the future, find something to stress you out. Or you can just look around wherever you are, whatever room you're in, and find something now that brings you joy. Find something now that makes you feel like, you know what? I don't know what the future will bring, and that's okay, because right now I'm happy.